Hi, guys and girls. Greg Howe, S9 Radio. And lately, I've been just getting bombarded with CPI radios, which is just fine. I love them. Unfortunately, a few have been, golden screwdriver to the point where the EPROMs were shot. And not a lot you can do other than, get a couple channels out of them. But anyways, somebody had gotten in and done a partial recap on this, and I love it. The workmanship was good, and the quality of capacitors was excellent. Even these people that claim to be technicians seldom go with the top shelf parts. And when you're working on a top shelf radio, that's like putting a Volkswagen piston in a Porsche engine rebuild. It's just stupid. You're killing the performance, you're killing the longevity. So anyways, a few of the caps did not get replaced. The radio showed up a little off frequency, and I noticed it had a warble, which is something I've never run across on a CPI. So anyways, a few of the harder to access capacitors, these ones are a real nightmare, even to the seasoned technician, have not been replaced. These are all audio caps, so they're not going to be causing a warble. But where I'm going with this is there are some capacitors hidden under these IF transformer shields. And I rather suspect we've got a shorted or way out of spec capacitor hiding down in there, or one of these. So I'm going to get in there and replace those. And this is always something nice to see. This is the RF section of the CPI, and it's still got the tamper-proof rivets in place. So what does this tell me? Well, it tells me I'm going to have an unmolested RF cage. I'm going to get in there and replace the 3 electrolytic capacitors that should get replaced, and then seal it all up. So overall, just a really clean CPI that's going to get made a little better. Stay tuned. Anyway, Troy, as mentioned, a total recap on a CPI is a major undertaking, a very laborious, tedious task due to the extremely close circuit spacing and the lack of any reference designations on the silkscreen. So I've gone ahead and removed these shields off of 2 of the IF transformers here, allowing me to get access to what I consider to be extremely critical capacitors, as well as the ones in your final cage here. A lot of your caps have already been replaced on this. They've used nice quality caps and done a good job. So anyways, all the critical areas have been addressed as mentioned. I've recapped the interface board, and I'll go through and clean all of this flux off of here and get it all nice and pretty. It just makes it easier for everybody to see the areas that I've been working. And I'm kind of surprised, although I haven't really looked close up, there is an FET. Yes, they have. There is an FET. There is a field effect transistor right here that almost always gets blown when people that don't wire the mic up properly or they overdrive it with something crazy. And it kind of looks like somebody may have been in here and replaced this. It's pretty unusual to find a CPI that hasn't had this field effect transistor replaced. Just touching these with your fingers can damage them, so they're very static sensitive. But anyway, she's coming along nice, and of course all the caps on the interface board have been replaced. And then I've gone ahead and reflowed many of the solder joints. These mass termination edge connectors tend to get a workout, and I could tell somebody had been in here goofing around. So rather than take a chance looking for fractured solder joints, which sometimes even under a jeweler's loop are hard to see, easier to just go through and reflow them. And I was doing some work in this area, so you can see all the flux that will shortly be removed. Just kind of beefing things up, going through some known areas of weakness, yeah, this thing should be almost as good as new. Not a complete and total recap on it, but a lot of the critical ones. Okay, I've gone ahead and drilled out the 2 tamper resistant rivets, allowing access to the final cage, and then I've heated up the SO239 solder connection, allowing me to remove the board and replace the 3 capacitors. These capacitors are probably some of the most important in the radio, as the biggest killer of electrolytic capacitors is heat. Much like a car battery, they have an electrolyte. Sometimes it's a gel, sometimes it's actually a liquid, sometimes it's just a paste, but it evaporates, and heat accelerates that evaporation. So it's really important to get these ones taken care of, and then I always like to leave a little note on the larger capacitors, letting future technicians, maybe 20 years down the road, somebody will see, okay, this has been recapped 1025, it's ready for another recap. And it's a good thing, even had I seen the tamper-resistant rivets already removed, I probably would have opened this just to inspect it. People, you know, they spend some money shipping me these things, and I want them to be right when they leave here. And speaking of right, this is somewhat common, but the thermal grease that aids in heat transfer, makes up for the dissimilarities in the metal, had dried out, and these little heat sink spacers literally fell in my face. So they're getting the good stuff. This is some old school thermal compound. This is the real good stuff here. So new thermal paste. And also when I was disassembling this, there are two stud mounted driver and final. The hardware was actually loose on the driver transistor, and that could have become a problem on a long-winded key up if you're into that sort of thing. So good that all of these issues have been addressed. Once again, this radio is in exceptionally fine shape by my estimation. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these little spacers down that are loose. And then I'll go ahead and put the board back in, solder the SO239, plug in the connectors here, and on to the next section, which will be the interface board, and getting some new audio capacitors and compression circuit capacitors installed. So stay tuned. Well, it's a good thing I'm recapping the CPI interface board. Look what I found. Got a burned up resistor here. The only thing I can think that would have made this resistor burn up is perhaps it feeds a light bulb. Somebody put in a light bulb that was a little too strong. I can see somebody's been working on this interface board before. They've reflowed all this edge mount connector. I think I saw another spot where somebody had been in here, but not to worry. Anyways, we'll get that plugged in and see how the radio sounds with all the new audio. Okay, I've just replaced this burned up 47 ohm resistor, and look what I found. Another one right here. Almost certainly a light bulb series driver resistor. So good thing I got in here and had a little closer inspection. The radio is working fine. It took an alignment fine. The meter lights look perhaps a little bright. Not original, but I'll let it burn for another day or so and make sure we don't burn up any more resistors. Possible these bulbs are a little bit too high current for this circuit. I wonder if this radio's got enough giddy up and go to say hello. WikiWhack, Big Bear Mountain, Southern California, Mile High Station, looking east and listening. Yeah, Central Florida, it's a real dog pile out there, but your radio out there in Gator Town is making it through all the Hashmatrash to this mile high elevation out here in Southern California. WikiWhack, Big Bear Mountain, back to you. Correct, yes, I'm at a mile high location about 60 miles east of Los Angeles. Copy? Well, looks like Mother Nature's taking a big fade on us there, guys. Anyway, 73, trick or treat and all that good stuff. WikiWhack, Big Bear Mountain, SoCal, listening out. Okay, boy, I didn't think I was going to have that kind of response. Heard quite a few of you coming back. Heard a Missouri station, a 925 station, and a few others there. Anyways, Missouri, take it away. You were in there first. 388, trying out this CP radio, wondering if you could give me an audio check. 388 Southern California, back to you.
Yeah, sure, be happy to. 388, it's clear and loud, and your signal A plus there. It's kind of out of its conditions. It's kind of unrated and stretching ever so subtly, but you're doing a little better.
Boy, tough copy. I heard you in there, but a bunch of others. I think I'm going to run down to channel 33, channel 33. I just spun the dial. That's about the only frequency that's halfway clear right now. Station 388, Southern California, QSY to channel 33.
Here's 317 Missouri for 388 on my west coast.
Hey, thank you, 317. My God, I just turned the radio on, and yeah, the conditions are just wall to wall. Got everybody and their brother coming in. How copy? 388 back to you.
Report you're on frequency. Your signal 8 plus, 7 plus, 8 plus there consistently here, and I'm a vertical antenna in West Missouri. Q388. Here's 317.
Okay, 317. Boy, glad I got a clear pipeline to you. And yeah, I just finished the, well, I can't say it's a full restoration. I just had the radio come in to get the thing right. Gentleman didn't want to go through and completely recap the radio.
And so now you're almost swinging signal 9 plus. 9 plus gets, that's when things start to turn red, but not on this radio. So anyhow, yeah, you can be confident. 388 sounding great, yeah.
Okay, now I'm on the IMAX, and I think you might even be a little stronger on the IMAX. I'm not quite pointed at